Good morning, everyone. It's January 26, 2019. I'm Eric. I'm here at the Free Thought Project. I'm going to cover this, and this. So 4 of them in this one video. And while I'm at the beginning here, I'm still looking for individuals who will get on here with me and make videos, along with do some live streaming. I have a Discord link in the description box. So if you have similar views to mine, please do hit me up. Maybe we can make something out of this YouTube channel yet. If you agree with me, please give me a thumbs up, maybe a share. And of course, I have a PayPal link in the description box as well. So, first one. On-duty cop shoots and kills fellow off-duty cop in the middle of the night and is not arrested. And the reason I make these cop videos is to help undermine people's faith and destroy the image of these cops, who many hail as heroes, including our current president. So this happened in St. Louis, Missouri. 2 investigators have begun looking into how 3 close St. Louis cops, 2 of them on duty, ended up in one of their apartments in the early hours of Thursday before one manhandled his private gun to fatally wound a colleague. At 12:56 a.m. on Thursday morning, a police call came concerning an officer in need of aid. Caitlin Alex, 24, was delivered in a police vehicle to St. Louis University Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The men who drove her were 2 29-year-old white males whose names have not been released. None of the 3 officers had worked at the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department for more than 2 years. They were all described as friendly with each other. Police have released scant detail. Alex, who was married but had no children, appears to have dropped by another officer's house on a night she wasn't on duty, but he was, and was sitting in the living room when she was shot in the chest by what a police source told the local NBC affiliate KSDK was not a non-department issue revolver. So the gun was not department issued. Questions around: what were the 2 on-duty cops doing at home during their shift? Why did Alex join them so late at night? Most importantly, what was the exact sequence that led up to the shooting? In quotes, we know that the press and the public want to understand what happened. So do we, but for now, we wait, we wonder, and we weep. The city's police union business manager, Jeff Runda, said. That's the SLMPD and the Circuit Attorney's Office are conducting parallel investigations. This is a tragic situation. The family of Officer Alex deserves a complete, objective, and thorough investigation of this incident, which they won't get. My office is approaching this criminal investigation with the highest level of seriousness and urgency. The Ethical Society of Police has already called the shooting reckless and avoidable, and has called for charges to be filed against the perpetrator. So, and there may be charges filed, but really the consequences for police who commit the most heinous of crimes is minimal. The punishment is minimal. So I wouldn't hold my breath on true justice being pursued because it was involving an officer. Here's another one. Whenever my computer decides to cooperate. Oh well, that moved up here. Cop hailed as hero until video showed him shoot man 13 times in the back and then stomp his head. And this happened in Los Angeles. Connor Zion, 21, was in the midst of a psychological breakdown when he became violent and was subsequently killed. However, the manner in which he was killed has led to a federal court ruling that the police officer who killed him can now be sued for using excessively deadly force. After killing Zion in 2013, Orange County Sheriff's Deputy Michael Higgins was hailed a hero. But a federal jury just found this week that his actions were to the contrary of what heroes do. Now, the taxpayers of Orange County will be shelling out hundreds of thousands of dollars to Zion's mother to pay for this alleged hero. In quotes, when police confront a suspect who poses an immediate threat, they must use deadly force against him, Judge Alex Kaczynski wrote for a unanimous 3-judge panel of the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in 2017. But they must stop using deadly force when the suspect is no longer a threat. Higgins did not stop using force, and his actions played out like a scene from Grand Theft Auto. The police are not trained to stomp victims into unconsciousness, especially after they've been shot 13 times, says Brian Alney, an attorney for the plaintiff's family, calling the incident a heinous, vicious, brutal act. When a suspect falls to the ground after he's been shot in the back as he fled, that suspect, by most definitions, subdued and no longer a threat. However, despite collapsing to the ground after being shot in the back, Orange County Sheriff's Deputy Michael Higgins felt it necessary to stand over Zion as he bled out on the ground and fired 9 more shots into him at point-blank range. For good measure, Higgins then backed up, took a running start, and began stomping Zion's face into the concrete. In 2014, Higgins was cleared of murder of Zion only days after Zion's mother filed a $25 million wrongful death suit. So, again, this guy did some serious overkill. He was cleared of criminal charges, which he shouldn't have been. After a suspect or an individual is subdued, whether it be with handcuffs, a bullet, taser, so on and so forth, and they continue to inflict injury, that is assault. And if that injury leads to their death, it is murder. And law enforcement gets away with murder in this country every day. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Cop covers up his body cam to hide fellow cops beating a surrendering man. Again, if the person is surrendering, they have no business using violence on this individual. In fact, they really don't have any business using violence on any of these people unless they are being violent themselves. This happened in Miami, Florida. When people got excited about police wearing body cameras and their potential to accurately document the situation, it is important to remember that the video will only exist if the person wearing the body cam allows it to. Highlighting this point is the recent case out of Miami in which a police officer was recorded covering his body camera as he and his fellow officer waylaid a suspect. Despite happening close to 2 years ago, the public is only just now seeing the brutal and corrupt arrest of Raven Boyd. In May of 2017, Boyd was suspected of robbery when he fled from the police. When officers finally found him, he was hiding in an alley cornered with nowhere to go. As police approached Boyd, as the video clearly shows, Boyd put his hands in the air, got down on the pavement with his face down to the ground, and outstretched his hands in front of him. He had effectively surrendered and was allowing police to take him in. However, one officer, Miami Sergeant Claude Adams, or Adam, could not control himself and ran up to Boyd and kicked his right foot at his head. He then appeared to deliver a knee to Boyd's face before stepping on his foot and falling to the ground. Just as Adam kicked, we can hear, "I'm gonna kick you in your fucking mouth, you fucking piece of shit." Officer Juan Castellano, Alan Perez, Brian Castro were also on the scene. It was Castro's body camera, however, that had the best view of the incident, but that would quickly be remedied as Castro covered up his body camera. For the next few moments, grunts and groans could be heard as officers proceeded to allegedly dole out their street justice. Despite video showing Boyd having his hands outstretched when police arrived, all four officers filled out use of force reports claiming Boyd had his hands under his body, and they all claimed he was reaching for a weapon. As shown in the video, this was clearly a lie, as Boyd positioned his arms out on the ground and was allowing officers to arrest him. Castellano wrote in Boyd's arrest affidavit, "The defendant was tucking his hands under his body, not allowing officers to place hand restraints on the defendant. After a brief struggle, the defendant's hands became free, and I was able to place him into custody." I cannot tell you what lying sacks of shit police are. I personally have been victim of one of their lies, and it cost us dearly. One more here. Taxpayer pay $1.25 million after cops beat innocent doctor on video for stealing his own car. This happened in Evanston, Illinois. All too often, those who blindly support authority without question will say, if you don't want to get beat up by the police, don't break the law. However, time after time after time, they are proven wrong, often in the worst way. Dr. Lawrence Crosby is proof that not breaking the law is no protection against getting hurt by the police, as he was beaten and arrested by cops who thought he had stolen his own car. Now, instead of the officer being held accountable for this abuse, the taxpayers of Illinois are shelling out $1.25 million. As the AP reported on Wednesday, a Chicago suburb has tentatively agreed to pay a former doctoral student $1.25 million to settle a lawsuit alleging police officers tackled him to the ground and arrested him for stealing a car that turned out to be his own. See, time after time, not only do officers get away with brutalizing people, but the taxpayer is held liable for their wrongdoing. This isn't the story that I expected to be telling at this point in my life, having just received my doctorate from one of the top schools in the country. The bigger story of my life is growing up without knowing my father, losing my mother to illness when I was 8 and becoming a ward of the state, Crosby aptly noted in his piece for WAPO last year. Crosby is not a criminal. In fact, he's an upstanding citizen and accomplished engineering student who was on his way to school to complete his doctorate at Northwestern University that night. However, in today's see something, say something society, not even innocent doctoral candidates are safe from police abuses. At around 7 p.m. that night, Crosby was working on his car when a woman drove by. Seeing a black man working on his car was enough to trigger this do-gooder into calling the cops and then apparently following him. Hi, someone's trying to break into a car, the woman told the dispatcher. I think the person just got into the car. So, this see something, say something shit is going to get people killed. And probably already has. I'm going to go back to this first line here. All too often, those who blindly support authority without question will say, if you don't want to get beat up by the police, don't break the law. Well, firstly, I've never once agreed to follow laws dished out to me by a ruling class who don't have to follow those laws. I never agreed to be subject to police brutality or arrest or kidnapping. I never agreed or consented to be governed by anyone. Secondly, the law is created by people who see the public as the enemy. What kind of sense does it make to follow laws of people who openly declare the rest of the population enemies? It doesn't. It goes against any kind of true logic. And thirdly, if this can happen to them, it can happen to you. It can happen to your son, your daughter, your grandmother, your grandfather, your mother, your father, anyone you love. Quit calling the fucking cops They are worthless bastards who, when given the opportunity to be heroes, cower behind police cars like bitches. It's funny how these guys are heroes and so brave when an individual is unarmed. But when a person's armed, they're not so fucking brave, now are they? And by the way, it's easy to be brave when there's no consequences for your ill actions. Anyway, I thought I would share these 4 instances of, them being above the law everyone else is held to. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.